When I was 15, my stepdad called a family meeting in the garage. Set up folding chairs like a game show. Mom stood next to him with cue cards. Welcome to Who Stays, Who Goes. My sister, 11, grabbed my hand, confused. Stepdad spun a wheel. With our names, let's see who gets kicked out today. It landed on both of us. Mom pretended to be shocked. Oh no, both kids lose. His real kids came out with party poppers. Stepdad announced, "You have 30 minutes to pack. This house is for winners only." Mom read from cards. Studies show 73% of stepkids ruin marriages. My sister asked, "Is this real?" Stepdad laughed. "As real as your eviction." His daughter took photos. Mom handed us trash bags. "For your clothes. Suitcases are for family." Stepdad's final touch. "Leave your house keys. You're trespassing after 4 p.m. I held my sister close and whispered, "We'll survive this. And one day, we'll make them pay." 2 days ago, 12 years later, my revenge in action. My WhatsApp exploded with desperate messages. "Please answer. This is your mother. What did you do? Everything is ruined. The police were here. Please stop this. You can't just walk in here after all these years and start throwing accusations, Ethan." My mom's voice cracked, but it wasn't fear. It was the same sharp defensiveness she'd always wielded. "I'm not throwing anything," I said, my voice low but steady. "I'm setting records straight." "You think you're some hero? You've done nothing for this family," my stepdad barked, leaning forward at the kitchen table like it was a court bench. "Family?" I smirked. "Funny word coming from you. Who I am. My name's Ethan Carter. 27. I'm the kid who got told at 15 that a wheel of names decided my place in the family. That day, the game show eviction, burned into me like cigarette smoke in old curtains. I've lived most of my adult life with that smell in my lungs. Unwanted, replaceable, inconvenient. But I'm still standing, and I didn't come here to ask for a place at their table. The players, Marianne Carter. Mom, 58. Guilt hides under her sarcasm. Married the man who made me a punchline. Dennis Carter. Stepdad, 61. Retired contractor. Loves teaching lessons, never on himself. Sophie Carter. Half-sister, 24. His golden child. Never lifted a finger without applause. Emma Blake. My sister, 23. The other name on that eviction wheel. My shadow and my strength. The fuse burns. You drained Grandma's account, Mom. You left Emma with nothing to cover her surgery. Don't start that again, she snapped. It wasn't like that. The bank statements say otherwise. I slid the folder across the table. Transfers, cash withdrawals, while Emma was in the hospital. Dennis laughed, a dry, ugly sound. What's done is done, kid. Grow up. Kid? My knuckles tightened on the table. I've been more of an adult since 15 than you've ever been. Sophie leaned back in her chair, arms crossed like she'd already won. You just want money, she said, her tone dripping with that same smug superiority she'd been spoon-fed since birth. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because the lie was so small compared to the truth. No, I said, staring straight into her eyes, holding her gaze until she shifted uncomfortably. I want the truth, and I want Emma's name cleared. Mom's nails tapped against the table. Tap, tap, tap. This again? She muttered. Yes, this again, I shot back. You told the whole family Emma mismanaged her medical bills. You turned her into a cautionary tale at holiday dinners. But you knew. The money was gone, because you took it. Her eyes flashed like I'd stepped over some invisible line. Watch your mouth, she hissed, but her voice wavered just enough for Dennis to glance at her. Her voice pulled me backward. 12 years in an instant. Emma was 11 that night. She still had those oversized pajamas with the cartoon kittens on them, the ones she refused to throw away even when the sleeves were frayed. We stood in the driveway under the porch light, the two of us clutching black trash bags filled with our lives. Behind us, Dennis's kids, perfect, untouchable, sat on the porch steps, whispering and laughing. Emma had looked up at me, her breath fogging in the cold air. "Is this a joke?" she whispered. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to tell her it was some cruel prank that would be over in 5 minutes. Instead, I told her it was, and hated myself for it. We slept on Dad's couch that night, 2 blocks away from the house Mom didn't bother to call from. Weeks later, when Emma's health collapsed and hospital bills stacked higher than we could count, Mom's only words were, "You need to take responsibility for your own life." But she'd already taken that responsibility from us, ripped it away, when she drained the account meant to keep Emma alive. I leaned forward now, my voice slow and deliberate, slicing through the thick air of the kitchen. "You remember that legal form you signed last month? The one Sophie brought over while Emma was in recovery?" Mom's fingers froze mid-tap. "What about it?" she asked, her voice suddenly small. I let the silence stretch. Dennis shifted in his chair, the leather creaking. Sophie's foot tapped nervously against the floor. "It wasn't a volunteer form for that charity drive," I said. "It was a transfer of property deed. You signed this house, your house, over to Emma." Dennis's chair scraped violently against the tile as he shot to his feet. You tricked her." I tilted my head. "No, I gave her a choice. The same kind of choice you gave me when I was 15. The difference? I put the truth in front of her. She just didn't bother to read it." Sophie's face drained of color. Mom looked from me to the table like she was trying to find a loophole written in the wood grain. But there wasn't one. "You'll regret this, Ethan." Dennis's voice was almost a growl now, spit catching at the corner of his mouth. I stood up slowly, letting the chair legs scrape. "I regretted staying silent for 12 years. I'm fresh out of regret now." Mom's hands were shaking, but not from fear. From the realization that control was slipping away. Sophie started to cry, and it wasn't guilt. It was panic. Dennis stormed toward the door, muttering curses under his breath, and slammed it so hard a picture frame hit the floor and shattered. Mom didn't chase him. She didn't say a word. She just stared at me, at the man I'd become without her help, like I was a stranger who'd just broken into her life and rearranged the furniture. "You can hate me," I told her, voice steady. "But Emma gets her home. That's final." Outside, the air was cold enough to bite. The wind carried the faint smell of burning leaves from somewhere down the street. Sharp, cleansing. Emma was waiting in the car, the heater humming softly. When I slid into the passenger seat, she looked at me with wide, searching eyes. "How bad?" she asked. I took a breath. "Messy," I said, then let a small smile slip. "But it's done." She stared at the steering wheel for a moment, then nodded. "Feels lighter," she whispered, her voice trembling with something halfway between relief and disbelief. I reached over, squeezed her hand. For the first time in years, my chest didn't feel caged. The invisible chain tying me back to that house had finally snapped. Weeks later, cardboard boxes littered Emma's new living room. Her living room. Sunlight spilling through windows that used to belong to someone else. She was humming softly, unpacking mugs, while I assembled a bookshelf in the corner. One morning, a letter arrived in my mailbox. The handwriting was instantly familiar. Inside, "I don't know how to fix this." No excuses, no apologies, just that single line. I put it back in the envelope, not ready to answer. Maybe someday, because forgiveness? It's not a gift for the people who broke you. It's a release you give yourself when you can finally set the weight down. And right now, I wasn't ready to let it go. At night, when I drove past the house, I'd slow down just enough to see the warm glow of Emma's lamp in the window. It was proof of the promise I'd made that night in the driveway. We'll survive this. And we had, only this time, survival came with victory. If you were in my shoes, if your family threw you away and years later you had the chance to make things right, What would you do? Would you forgive? Or would you take back what was yours? Tell me in the comments. And if you believe in standing up for yourself, hit like, subscribe, and share this so more people hear it. This isn't just my story. It's for anyone who's ever been told they don't belong. You do.